Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it's time for a bench press day. And should note for the record, I think you guys can tell I'm getting leaner. I look leaner now that I'm seeing the footage. I'm down to about 221 at the moment. Scale is coming down. I'm having to watch fatigue though a little bit, and the reason is scale weight's coming down. I've added conditioning work and I'm doing more leg work. So accordingly, recovery is going to be a little tight for just a bit. So I'm going to have days like today where I cut out all of my middle workout multi-joint movements and just go to all my arm stuff. So that means I focused on the flat bench and I focused on chins, right? So chin-ups from a dead hang, which again, I can finally do these. Again, we discussed it last vlog. The dead hangs I've been doing, the pullovers I've been doing have helped. I can now do chin-ups again, pain-free. I'm trying to do these to the dead hang of my range of motion. I am going to improve that range of motion by continuing to work on my mobility. I've got to basically break a lot of stuff loose. I've got to stretch a lot of stuff out so that I can get further than that. But the fact that I can do these at all, I'm happy with. I'm going to keep progressing at it. My goal is to improve the range of motion first and foremost. That is more important to me than necessarily rep goals. I want to get to 20 from a dead hang, but I want that dead hang to be more range of motion than I currently have. The benching though is getting a little tough because keep in mind guys, I've switched over to flat back benching. No belt, no wrist wraps, and yes, I was stronger earlier this summer, but again, also things were peaked really well. I was gaining weight slowly. I was in a very slow bulk. So that's the other thing people have to remember. Even though the weight gain was slow, it was literally something like 2 pounds a month, if that. It was enough for me to really get that bench up. Plus, everything was optimal, leverages, arching, all that. So it's gonna be a little bit tough for a bit, but I feel like over time, the muscle memory I had from that will kick back in. And if I continue to really focus on body composition and gaining muscle, right, through all these longer ranges of motion I'm doing, I should recomp a little bit once the weight stabilizes just a hair. So I'm going to just keep focusing on that. But a lot of this is going to have to be, my training's going to have to really, really be optimized to pull that off. Okay, so something to keep in mind. But the thing that we're doing here, I am hoping that, and I have a feeling a lot of that loose skin that's around the love handle area is still from the previous weight loss. Remember, loose skin always has fat in it. So something I've said previously, I'm going to have it all visible now. I'm not going to cover it with a belt. Everything's going to be raw. It's going to be in shorts. We can kind of watch in real time and see what happens with it, right? We can see what happens with it. And I think as I've had a few fans and even someone who I do consultations with, he called me about something not necessarily related to training. And we talked the other day, and he's done bodybuilding, at a low level. And he even said, he goes, yeah, dude, you're leaner than I think you realize, because with that loose skin area and the fat in there. He goes, that's the only thing that's making you not look really lean. But the thing we always have to remember, loose skin is still fat. That is what's in it. And until that burns off, it can't fully tighten up. So we're just going to see what happens. And I'm not going to ever do a surgery, but I think it's going to get tighter if I get leaner. And I need to get leaner. It's good overall, right? So we're going to work on that. But I'm really happy with those chins. Everything is pain-free. And that's the main thing. And again, the dead hangs and the pullovers are going to continue to help with that. And those are going to be pivotal, absolutely pivotal in doing this. But yeah, so the benching wasn't crazy heavy today, but I'm wanting to focus on good pauses, flat back, getting that lengthened position. Lengthened positions are going to be everything to me right now. Right? I want to put as much mechanical tension as possible on muscles. I want as much myofibular growth as possible so that maybe we do get some recomposition and put myself into a situation to where I can gain muscle really, really well once I'm kind of at a body fat I need to be at. So I'm trying to just maximize those things. Now, the other thing to think about, one of the problems I've had in the past is when I'm really fatigued, I'll be like, well, if recovery's not ideal, I'll just skip the arm work and just focus on the big stuff. And I think that's the wrong approach for me, given the fact that we know my arms need the most work. So I'm like, no, I'm going to push arm stuff really hard on days. If I don't feel like doing incline and rows and all that, I'll push the arm work hard. But even if we look at the volumes for today, what do we have for work? Technically, everything got at least 6 quality work sets. So if you do that twice a week, we're up to 12. We're in that optimal range still. Because I did 3 bench, 3 chins, right? And then I did 3 lying extensions, 3 sets of curls. Now the curls I'm trying to get as heavy as I can now. Okay, now that I'm used to doing a stricter curl, and I'm doing them as a drag curl, and I'm pulling everything into the stretch at the bottom and holding it. So again, I'm making sure my elbows lock. Again, that's really important for someone like me who has lost that ability to do that. Again, this is stuff that I do agree with Jamie on. I think that's what's causing bicep tears and other stuff in powerlifters, is that we start losing any of that mobility and that range of motion. So I'm going to have to really focus on that. But let's come over and think about the fact I don't have the best arms. Is a lot of it because of the lack of range of motion. Okay. If I can't get my biceps into the best lengthened position, am I losing growth potential? Of course I am. If I can't get, because of my shoulders can't get the best stretch on the long head of the tricep, is my long head going to lack? Of course it is. So again, the thing I would say with is something I've blamed, basically said, hey, it's genetics, when it may be range of motion and other stuff I've done that's caused me to not have the best lengthened positions, and that's not necessarily genetic. So that's kind of be my hypothesis. I think if I can sort those things, it's going to help me there. But we do the math on all this. We did all this arm work, and then the pullovers. The pullovers are a pec and lat exercise, right? Just because something's a smaller movement doesn't mean it doesn't count towards our sets. You can combine a big movement and a small movement, that's good. So what are we looking at for today? Even though I'm counting it as that, and then I did some band press downs, which I won't necessarily count. They were just for blood flow and tendon health. Even if I don't count those, well, 3 sets of benching, 3 sets of really, stretched extensions. That's 6 sets for triceps. That's if we don't count the pullovers as tricep long head, which they technically are. Right, they technically are. Same thing. 3 sets of chins, 3 sets of heavy full range of motion curls. Full range of motion for the elbow. Right? Because again, I am getting that squeeze at the top, and of course it's heavy there. But again, these feel really good in my biceps. Right? And again, some of this we can tell I'm definitely getting leaner. All right, the pullovers, I'm trying to now pause. I'm trying to find stuff where I can get good camera angles, because it's really hard to get the best camera angles. But I think this shows it well. It doesn't show me particularly well, but it shows the position of the pullovers. So I'm doing these I did them with 3 different grips. I went wider and wider on the grip as I went through the 3 sets, but I'm trying to hold them for a pause and make sure I've got a deep breath and really get that stretch until it hurts. Like I'm stretching it until it hurts on each rep. And going into that spot that hurts, and then we can see my back. A good idea of where I'm at. So, most of the place that I'm going to have to lose body fat though from here is in that love handle and loose skin area. So I think from this point, every pound that I lose is going to mostly come from there, because that is my largest body fat pool at this point, right? So that'll start trimming down, and then I'm doing all this other stuff. We'll see what ends up happening. But that's going to be kind of my goal. Yes, I want elite lifts on my power lifts. I'm not doing them as the full power lift. I'm doing them all as longer range of motion, harder versions to build muscle. But that'll still carry over. Like, if you bench with a flat back, your arch bench doesn't get weaker as you get strong on the flat back. Deficit deadlifts, you really hammer deficit deadlifts, your deadlift doesn't go down. Trust me. I've learned this stuff firsthand. So that is going to be the name of the game. Strength, conditioning, body composition. All right. But the conditioning has to be there too. So that's something I'm working on, is my cardiovascular fitness. But yeah, the pullovers, I kind of stretched these as hard as I could today, and I'm going to keep working them. I feel like they're helping me a lot, and that's the straightest arm I can do on them, by the way. They might get straighter if I go in the middle, but again, just doing the best that I can with them. But also, I think these videos now, because I'm down to no belt, I think we can really kind of see where I'm at. People can watch what happens with body composition and stuff like that, all in real time. So I think this is a good way to do the blocks. So we can watch everything that's happening, you know, in real time as it happens. No tricks, you know. There's no Photoshop. There's nothing like that to work with here. Everything's done in real time. This is just going to be how I look day to day. But yeah, pretty happy with the workout, even though I skipped a couple of the multi-joint movements due to just, you know, overall fatigue and recovery. I'm very happy with today's workout. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.